This is Optimal Health Daily, episode 241, Know When to Walk Away, Part 1, by JCD of JCDFitness.com, and I'm Dr. Neil. Hey, happy Monday, and welcome back to Optimal Health Daily, where I simply read to you from the best health and fitness blogs for free. I cover fitness, nutrition, stress management, weight management, and lots more. This is just like a big audiobook, but from a bunch of different authors. And don't forget, I answer your questions every Friday. So it's June 19th. I'm going to let you know how big of a dork I am, in case you weren't already aware. There are certain groups, certain organizations that are celebrating Christmas in June, and I am totally into it. My favorite baseball team, as you likely know, are the Angels. I refuse to call them the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, but needless to say, they are celebrating Christmas in June this whole week, and I am totally into it. I'm loving it. The holidays are my favorite time of year, essentially, and so just a little reminder that, it's only 6 months away till the holidays, just makes me happy. Now, today's article is a bit on the longer side, so I'll read part 1 today and then finish it for you tomorrow. And before I jump into that post, let's start this week on the right foot. I'm going to share with you an inspirational quote that I think applies nicely to today's episode and tomorrow's episode. Quote, "Courage to start and willingness to keep everlasting at it are the requisites for success." Alonzo Newton Ben. And with that, let's get right to today's post and start optimizing your life. Know When to Walk Away, Part 1, by JCD of JCDFitness.com. I know you've been there. Perhaps today is one of those days. You're stale, weak, and dehydrated from the previous nights. Insert crazy activities here. On top of that, you're running off fumes from some weak espresso you picked up on your way to work. You still have the bitter taste of day-old coffee on your palate. By lunchtime, you're famished, but the container of hard-boiled eggs and that soggy tuna sandwich you whipped up together will tide you over until you hit the gym for back and bicep day. As you plow through the rest of your shift, you continually nod off, quickly looking up after each mini snooze to be sure no one caught you sleeping on the job. In the back of your mind, you know the smart thing would be to head home, get into something comfortable, and chill out for the night. But that's the rational thing to do, and we're not rational beings. No, we continually find a reason to go against logical thought processes and dive into senseless acts of I can do whatever I put my mind to insanity. Once we get to the gym, one of two things will happen. If, and only if we're lucky, our workout goes smoothly and according to plan, nothing out of the ordinary, and we make it out alive, for the most part. 9 times out of 10, though, it will go pretty sour. Recently, I was chatting with a client who was more than halfway through his rapid fat loss diet, and he texted me during his workout. Why was deadlifting 315 pounds 5 times fairly easy a week ago, and today I can't even get it off the ground? I responded with, "Well, bro, you've been on a starvation diet for the last 6 to 7 days. It's no wonder you're struggling with the weight. It's heavy, and you probably need some food." I then went on to explain that in the end, lifting the heavy weights or not doesn't really matter. Sure, it sucks that you go in expecting a certain result and that it doesn't pan out. It sucks to feel like a failure, even though you're really not, in that moment of supposed weakness. But guess what? It doesn't matter. Nobody cares too much whether or not you had a crappy or awesome workout. You're not doing this for anyone but yourself. Strength training, bodybuilding, whatever you want to call it, it's not a team sport. Sure, we might train alongside other people, but you're not building your ideal physique for the benefit of your teammates or even your significant other. You're doing this because it's something you set out to do. You make the rules and you live by them. As a result, you probably don't have a coach as your dictator either. You don't have someone who's guiding you day in and day out, someone to make the call and say, "Hey buddy, your form is awful, and we ain't even finished your warm-ups yet. Why don't you do some mobility work, roll around on the foam a bit, and get home to rest?" That would be nice if we all could have a daily guidance counselor to ensure we get it just right, but that's a fantasy land. Unless you're qualifying for Olympic trials, you're most likely on your own. As a result, we must know when it's time to simply walk away. For the last 12 years or so, I've been doing some form of strength training, and I can only recall a handful of times in my life I ever took a deliberate training break. outside of being injured, sick, or on vacation, I've been a steady gym goer since I was 13 years old. However, it wasn't until the last few years that I developed the maturity to know when enough was enough, or alternatively, when to keep pushing. A long time ago, when linear gains were abundant, I'd go into the gym with an expectancy of doing a certain amount of weight. Without fail, I'd almost always hit my mark. But eventually, those days were gone. I'd go to the gym for a few weeks and struggle just to add 5 pounds to a lift. Once I finally added those 5 pounds, it seemed as if I were there for another 4 to 5 sessions before being able to add more weight to the bar. I used to get overly frustrated with myself, to the point of being internally upset and wondering what I was doing with myself and how I could correct it. As you probably know, transitioning into an intermediate trainee can be rough on the psyche. Sure, you're bigger, stronger, and fill out your clothes better, but you no longer get the satisfaction of seeing constant improvements you once saw as a beginner. This addiction of self-improvement suddenly isn't what it once was. You can't get your fix as easy anymore. Soon thereafter, you realize that every session might not be what you'd hoped. I started to feel like each time I stepped foot in the gym was a crapshoot. I was rolling the dice, praying for a new personal record. Then, one day, I woke up. I realized it was never going to get any better, and I had to deal with it. I had to find a coping strategy. It was that, or find another stress reliever. I began the practice of letting go more often, and accepting that each session could be meaningful if I allowed it to be. It was all in how I dealt with it. Here are a few methods. Hear that on tomorrow's episode. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled Know When to Walk Away by Deen of JCD Let me tell you, I have totally been guilty of doing this myself. When I go to the gym, it's almost as if in my head I have this audience watching me. And if I don't get the best workout every single time I'm at the gym for every single workout, I've somehow disappointed that fake audience. But JC is absolutely right. No one knows the difference. But somehow it affects us. We've let ourselves down, and sometimes we feel like we've let others down somehow. But it's not about that. And I'll tell you, this is something I still struggle with. This is something I too deal with on a constant basis. I don't get that same quote-unquote high, that endorphin rush, when I feel like I had a bad day at the gym. Sometimes I'll find myself driving away angry, feeling like I could have done better. My mind was there, but my body just wasn't able to keep up. So I'm so glad that JC chose to write about this. I think a lot of us feel this very same way. So I can't wait to read the rest of this post to you tomorrow, and hopefully together we can use these methods and get over this ego that we have. Now, before I go, don't forget, we give away books to a random person on our mailing list on the 1st of every month. Believe it or not, the next raffle is coming up very, very soon. To be in it, make sure you're signed up for our free weekly newsletter at oldpodcast.com. Not only are you in the raffles, but you'll also get some free spreadsheet tools from us, a video tutorial, a quick weekly update, and lots more. Again, for all of that, just come by oldpodcast.com. All right, that's it for today. Thank you as always for listening. I'll see you tomorrow where we'll continue this post and where your optimal life awaits.
Hello, Life Optimizer. This is Justin Malik, creator and producer of this show and Optimal Living Daily, the brother podcast of this one. Literally, I'm Dr. Neil's brother. If you like the format of this show, you'll love Optimal Living Daily too, where I also read to you from blogs, but cover other topics like personal development, finance, and minimalism from bloggers like Derek Sivers, The Minimalists, Zen Habits, and many more. So for more amazing content read to you for free, come subscribe to Optimal Living Daily too, and together we'll optimize your life.
You've been listening to Optimal Health Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode, and head to oldpodcast.com. That's oldpodcast.com for a free gift, as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.